wasn't an act to screw anybody. It was really just to try and make it fair. So I apologize to everybody involved, and definitely will get involved ever again going forward.
High Limit Room, episode 6, live from the road. Myself, Dillon Welch, Brad Sweet, and Kyle Larson, all over the country, I guess, right now. I'm on the West Coast in Portland. Kyle's in St. Louis, getting ready to continue a busy weekend, and Brad is getting ready to go for a weekend of racing in North Dakota and Minnesota. Let's start off with a victory toast. I'm drinking water this week straight out of the hotel faucet because it's 9:50 a.m. out here. So, but cheers to Kyle on another high limit win at Tri-City, and then of course Brad at Atomic with the Outlaws last weekend. Well done, boys. Brad put the moves on Kyle in turn 1 at Atomic and drove off into the sunset for another Outlaw win. That was fun and exciting. Little family feud there on the front row.
Yeah, I was closer in turn 1 than I thought. I just thought I would be able to drive to the cushion, but I actually kind of dropped my left rear and kind of backed it into the cushion. So felt like it was probably closer than it needed to be. But yeah, it was kind of just survival of restarts. We had a good car. It was hard to see when you kept lap traffic, but track that track is tricky and pretty technical. So just happy I was able to get the win. Starting on the front row next to Kyle, it's never easy. So it was cool to get our Napa Auto Parts guys in victory lane. They work hard.
And Kyle took the dice roll, of course, at Tri-City. A man of his word, despite some persuasion and some convincing, but came from 8th and finally cashed in on the dice roll. So I want your honest opinion now, Kyle. Did you still think it was possible coming from 8th, or was that something you did just to appease Brad and kind of appease the race fans?
No, I definitely thought it was possible from 8th. And it would have been possible from 11th too, but man, that would have been tough starting on the inside 6th row. I don't think Paul was too happy about me taking it from 8th, so he would have been really upset from 11th. So, but no, I knew the track was going to be really racy, or I was hoping it was going to be really racy, but man, starting the inside row, I would rather start 12th than 11th. But no, it was a lot of pressure on myself to win, because Paul probably would not have been very happy had I not won.
How tough was the cushion in 3 and 4? We saw a lot of guys kind of get tripped up by it, but you were obviously pretty good up there, but it looked like it was pretty treacherous.
Yeah, it was. And even when I was up there, I didn't really mess around with the technical part of the cushion, right in the center where it got to the wall. Once it got to that point, I kind of gave up on trying to do that. When I was behind Parker, he was still committed to it, and I would try and just kind of run momentum, through the middle and pick up the cushion on exit. And then, obviously when he flipped running up there, and Rico had been running up there, I was like, well, I'm not going to get a run on him following him. So I got to try something different, and was able to look at the track and see there was a much safer line on the bottom, and hopefully a faster one too, if you could hit it right. So just kind of plugged away at the bottom of 3 and 4 and, hammer the top behind him in 1 and 2, and was hoping I could stay close enough to him through 1 and 2 to be able to capitalize when he made a mistake, which he did a couple laps in a row and was able to get by.
Brad, you guys have nailed the track prep, I think, all, every single race that we've had this year, it seems like. But I'd imagine that Wednesday night was pretty tricky, just given the heat. It was kind of windy, sun was out. What challenges did you guys, have just to kind of get the track in a good condition to get going for the night?
Yeah, I mean, the Kevin Gundaker there, does a great job, and had us a great track to start with. I wasn't really involved in that at all. Just kind of kept an eye on it, but he seemed like he had everything really under control. When we packed the track, we got lucky. The sun was out, but we had a couple clouds kind of come right over and block the sun for hot laps, and that was actually really crucial to kind of save the track through qualifying. So it was minimal work, to be honest. just before the A there, we were looking at, we needed to speed the bottom up to try to create a second lane in turn 1 and 2. And 3 and 4, I thought we actually needed to kind of water the top a little bit, because the bottom and middle kind of was already there. And I didn't want the track to turn into too much one lane on the bottom of 3 and 4 if the cushion got too high and tricky. So we just missed at the top of 3 and 4. We got a lot more aggressive with the bottom of 1 and 2 to try to bring that second groove in. And then, so it was minimal, just good decisions right there at the end to allow for some good racing, and that we packed the cushion down, and man, it took off. It was 2 lanes. There was lots of grooves. It was technical. So hats off to the Gundakers for giving us a great racetrack, and obviously hats off to the racers for putting on a good show.
Yeah, track was good all night. Had a track record in qualifying. Had I counted, I think it was close to 10 guys that were under the old track record. So a lot of fun to watch that in qualifying, and then of course good racing throughout the night. All right, so let's talk about heat race number 1, the incident with Rico, where he thought the race was over as the leader, went to pull off the racetrack. Yellow comes out, and decisions were made after that to put Rico back in line. Kyle stopped on the racetrack to explain his thoughts on it, and he was moved back to second. So, Kyle, let's start with you and get your perspective from the cockpit of just kind of what went down there, why you did what you did, and just kind of then after that, what happened.
Yeah. First off, obviously I know, it was the wrong thing to do now. And in the moment, the immediate moment, I just felt like Rico was about to be done unfair. I think from my seat, I was running second, and the sun was in an awkward spot there, kind of low off of 4, directly behind the grandstands and kind of behind the flagman. And, from my seat, when we crossed, I guess, which was the 2 to go flag, as I was going underneath it, I was like, man, that didn't really look white. And then I was paying more attention the next time by, and still it's tough to see. And I was like, man, that looked like a solid flag again. So maybe that's the white. And then, Rico slowed down. So I looked at the scoreboard in 1 and 2 and seen we were lap 7 and kept going. And, then the caution came out, and I could hear the receiver, where they were trying to figure out where to blend them in. And, I just nowhere that you race a sprint car anyways, do they wave a green flag or a flag in general at 2 to go. So I think a lot of times as drivers, when you see a flag wave, you assume the first flag waving is the white flag. You can't really tell what it is. And then the second flag is the checker flag. So I understood why Rico was slowing. And in the moment, I just thought that was unfair because, the flagman had not described to anybody what his process was. I thought, had there been a driver's meeting where he's like, hey, this is how I do things, I would have been more understanding with Rico slowing down. So I thought I was explaining the stop and explaining that, Rico is about to be done unfair. I thought the moment was the right thing, but I think it was just a lose-lose situation all around, because in the moment too, I'm not thinking that it's screwing Sanders behind him. I just thought it was in the moment was the right thing to do, but optically it looks so bad. When I'm competing and racing and then making an officiating call, I guess. So I feel terrible. I mean, it wasn't my intention at all to screw anybody. It was actually just to help make it fair and make it right. But I know going forward, which I do. I don't really get involved in any competition stuff, even during the week. So I just felt like it was a moment where I needed to kind of explain what was happening, because I don't think officials, race director, anybody besides me in that moment knew kind of what was happening. So, I feel bad for, everybody, especially Kevin and Justin. And, it wasn't an act to screw anybody. It was really just to try and make it fair. So, I apologize to everybody involved, and definitely won't get involved ever again going forward.
Justin Sanders was added to the dash. He was the ninth car added to the dash. So, did at least get some laps there and an opportunity to try to advance and kind of try to make up for ultimately maybe something that did hurt him in the heat race. Brad, you shared your thoughts on the Flo broadcast, which I thought you were very transparent, very open. But I want to get your perspective again, now, kind of from the 30,000 feet, a couple of days to process everything and just kind of your side of it and what happened.
Yeah. I mean, I've ran the scenario through my head, multiple times. It was just one of those moments where, it all happened way faster than you ever think. You think you're going to be able to make, really good decisions all the time. And, I think from our standpoint, I couldn't see the flagman. So we were confused as to why Rico was slowing down. Did the flagman throw the checkered flag? We just didn't know. So Kyle kind of stopping to clear it up actually seemed like a good idea at the time, because like maybe he saw something that we all didn't. But looking back on it, obviously, we learned from that and we're going to move on. But it's just it's a weird situation. I'm not sure. I think we're going to make the right call. I think Spridge and Tommy Estes, who's kind of the lead official, we all kind of just basically said I think it's a yellow where you just have to blend Rico where he was going to be, which was third. I think that was going to be the right call. So I have a lot of faith in those guys to make good calls. So everything moving forward, obviously we learned from this and I support where if they ask on a start or something, but they run the show. Tommy's kind of our lead guy and he runs the show. So it was a bad situation. A tough situation because we want fairness and transparency, all the way around. And, it was almost like it came back to bite us, trying to maybe be a little bit too fair or too involved in the situation. So live and learn. We're going to move on and we're young and we're ambitious. And, it's just one of those things that you learn from and do better next time. And, I think Tommy, makes great calls and, I think we're going to make the right call. So that's that. And, like I said, we're excited for Eagle. We'll go there and we'll do a better job.
Kyle, I want to talk to you too, kind of just about the opportunity that you have to chase a national title now. You haven't really gotten a chance in the past to go full-time points racing with sprint cars just because of your schedule. You've obviously won the last two now with High Limit, points leader by, I think it's over 30 now. How exciting is that for you to I know, but it's cool, right? To have an opportunity really to go after a title. I think, is something you've enjoyed so far, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think even though it's 11 races or whatever, it's still kind of fun to have something else on your mind during a race, I guess. I think I don't get to feel the pressure of what Brad feels 90 nights a year racing points. I think, I show up to race a sprint car race and I'm out there just hammering the shit out of it every lap. You're trying to get the best finish possible, which so is Brad. But I think when you're racing for points, you have a longer goal in mind. So getting a little small glimpse of that, throughout 11 races is fun. Points weren't on my mind at all the other night, really just winning to get that extra money. So Paul wasn't mad at me was the main thing. So I was probably more win it or wear it mentality on Tuesday or Wednesday night. But like Wayne County, when I saw Sunshine was upside down, I was like, all right, yeah, don't mess this up now. Don't give up any points or anything like that. But no, it's cool. And I think, winning in our series pays a little bit more points, I think, than the other series. So you still want to race hard to get those wins, but you also got to finish to get the points.
Who's second and third in points? Like who's right? Who do we got to worry about?
Macri. I think Macri. Rico.
And yes, I think that's right.
Yeah, Rico's been consistent. Rico's been super consistent this year. He's been tough.
Yeah, he's been good. Kyle, I have a serious question because I genuinely don't know the answer to this. When you win, like, where is that money coming from? Is that like your money back into your pocket? Is it sponsor money? How does that work?
Brad can answer that question.
Like as far as Kyle, I mean, he's part owners in like our promotion group, but we basically have to sell the tickets, and we have an agreement with Flo and things like that that pay these purses and pay for our series to get up and down the road. So we write Paul Silva a check, and I think Paul Silva actually writes Kyle a check for his race winning. So yes, he's a part of the promotion group, but I think he gets his money from Paul. So Paul's no joke. When Paul gets that extra money, we're definitely writing that check out of our pocket. So yes, in a roundabout way, it actually costing Kyle.
Yeah, I would say I don't think I made any extra money with the dice thing, but Paul did.
Paul did, and if you would have wrecked or something would have happened, man, you would have been in big trouble. But Phil Durst does support our series, and we put his name on that Durst dice roll. So there's a little bit of a little bit of money that's in that that goes towards that. So it was fun that someone finally actually got some of that Durst dice roll money.
Yeah, do you think, Brad, going forward, seeing somebody just do it and be successful at it, does that entice more people moving forward to maybe be a little bit more risky and try it?
I think it's so hard to win these races nowadays. You work really hard to get on the front row. There's very few guys, Kyle Larson or, it's hard to go back to your car owner or and tell them, that I moved back. So, it was fun to see Kyle do it. I think that we're going to still have to find creative ways for other guys to do it. Or I think I probably like the idea the best of if the front row doesn't take whatever's on the dice, we just allow whoever's starting in that position to go for it. At least it creates a little extra excitement, So I think that's what we were probably gonna kind of do moving forward is let the front row still do the dice roll, but if it's like a 3 or 4, I feel like someone might do it, and that's kind of exciting. Obviously we don't want Kyle to take all the money, but that was the first time he's been able to a part of the dice roll, and I think 8 was the perfect number. I think that was honestly really exciting to watch. Had he been on the front row, I think it would have maybe not been as good a race as what we saw. So I think it did everything it needed to do, and Kyle and Paul made a little extra money, and obviously hopefully it does entice someone else to make a little extra money next time.
It was fun. I think too, like I think we talk about like points and stuff, and I don't know if it gets too gimmicky, but I think you look at like Anthony Macri or somebody who's close to the points lead, and as it approaches later in the year, if like down to the final event, their only shot to win the points is to say you made the dice number double points as well or something. They would give them an opportunity to, like, they would have to take it to go maybe to go try and win a championship.
Maybe you could get like a it's like, I don't know, what is it, is it like 2 points per car? Maybe it's double points if you take the roll per car you pass. So maybe you can gain some points back, but it's something I don't think you can kind of maybe make that move in the middle of the season, but next season or something. I mean, this is the inaugural season, so we're writing a lot of notes down and learning a lot of lessons, and trying to create a little more excitement, entertainment next year. So I think that'll be something that we could do that will entice drivers. Is not only is there money, maybe there's a points reward too. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Macri is second, Abreu third in points, by the way. Brian Brown and Justin Sanders top 5. Kyle's points lead is 37. Quick math, I think.
How about Danny Dietrich? Danny Dietrich from Pennsylvania leading some laps. That was kind of cool. That was a much needed improvement. Yeah, PA was like the top 3 for a minute. I thought that was kind of cool because you typically, PA guys, typically it will run good on bigger tracks outside of Pennsylvania, but like a littler track, obviously Macri running 34. Brent Marks has been around a while, but to see Danny Dietrich, kind of with that gas group, kind of come from where they were at the beginning of the season to lead laps. I thought that was pretty cool to see all those three guys all kind of battling for the lead up there in the in Illinois, way far away from Pennsylvania. I thought that was pretty neat.
What ultimately was it that they broke? Does anybody know?
I think Danny dropped a cylinder and was trying to pull left, and I think Brent clipped him, and then I think Brent's front end was broken and went into 3, and Brent collapsed the front end, and he was done, unfortunately, because I think those guys would have been more challenging for Kyle to get up there. I think that would have been a better race had they stayed in it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, that's Tri-City. 4 races down here with the Highland Sprint Car Series. We're back in action next week at Eagle. Return of 410 sprint cars to Eagle. I feel like this race, is maybe one of the ones, or maybe the one on the schedule this year that people are most excited about, right? I mean, there's a 250 grand races, but everybody's excited to go back to Eagle. Why is that? What about that place? And Kyle, I'll get your thoughts on this first. What about that place is so cool? What about it makes people so excited to see 410 sprint cars back there?
Oh, I'm sure there's a number of reasons why. I think probably, fans for sure, they haven't seen a 410 sprint car race there, I think, since 2017, maybe. I could be wrong on that, but it's been a while. So I think that is probably the main reason. But then it's also a great racetrack. It's a pretty small, track, bull ring, really exciting racing typically that you see there. Each end is different. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great time. I only got to run there once, and then I guess that was in 2017 with Ricky, and I believe Matt Wood at the time was coning the car. So yeah, I'm excited to go back in the 57, and you just have a good time. The racing's been great, like you mentioned, every high limit race. Track prep's been amazing, so I know they're going to nail it again, and it's going to be a great show. The crowd's going to be packed. I know a lot of pre-sale tickets have been going. So I think it's definitely the most anticipated event of the year. And the one that I've been looking forward to ever since we kind of started talking about this series over a year ago. So I'm excited to get there.
I made a lot of laps there on the old Saturday Night Speedway PlayStation 2 video game. It was it's a cool place. Brad, what is on your radar for this place? What kind of things are you keeping your eye on just as you kind of look ahead to next week?
I think the excitement's there, the anticipation's there from my standpoint. I want to make sure I get in there and work with Roger Hayden, make sure that we get the track, dialed for these guys. I think it's crucial. They typically run 305s and they run a lot of them. So having 410 sprint cars is going to be kind of, something different. So we're even flying the famous Lowell Morale from Chico out to support. So we're really excited to get out there and create a really good racetrack for these guys and hopefully, let them put on a show. So it was 2017. Last time we were there, Kyle stunk the show up in that 17 car. So that's the last time.
It wasn't a stunk up show. That was a great race.
It was a good race.
It was a great race. And I think that's why the anticipation's there, right? Last time there was, Kyle put on a heck of a show, and the Outlaws, it was a great show. Everyone was battling, and Kyle came through in that 17 car. And I'll never forget that. That was a great race. I think it was Darren Pittman he was battling.
Yeah.
I feel like
coming to the white.
Coming to the white. So yeah, it was a great race, but that's a great racetrack. I mean, it's small, high banked. The seating, is like kind of up above. Just a lot of potential there, and I think those fans in that part of the country, love 410 racing, and they haven't been able to see a lot. So excited to get there. Hopefully the fans really come out and support it, so we can keep going back and maybe even build some bigger events in that area. And then, like I said, we're going to try to make sure that we get the lines, do as good as we can for the fans, and also, put on do the racetrack as good as we can so the racers can put on a good show. So that's my goal anyway.
Yeah, I like how Kyle buried the lead there. He's like, I haven't raced there since 2017, but he didn't say anything about his win until you brought it up. That was a great race, Kyle. That was like about as good as it gets. Yeah, you passed him all 4 on the top, right? Coming to the white, he led like the entire race or something, led 29 laps, and you snuck by him.
I've probably watched that video, especially after the race. I bet I watched that video 5 times a day for 3 months. Like it was just one of the most exciting like wing sprint car wins to date at that point that I've ever had. And that was such a cool day. Like the whole story of that. Like I wasn't supposed to race, and I think the day before, I was like, man, Ricky, what do you think? Like pull down a second car. I come and run, and he made some calls and did it. We booked the plane. Flew. I brought David Farrow with me. He hadn't wrenched on the sprint car since probably being with Brad, and brought him with me. I think Owen was with me. I don't know if Caitlin and JP were there, but flew in, mounted the seat up, raced, won, and then like a big storm was coming in, and we had to get out of there like ASAP or something to get home in time. And we literally like just beat it by like 2 minutes or something. I think it was the duty hours or something. We just beat the duty hours by like 2 minutes to get home. So yeah, it was just a cool one. I mean, I remember my heart was like maxed out, pegged. I couldn't even like breathe or talk in victory lane. Worse than I probably was at Tri-City. So it was just a race that I'll never forget, and a memory, too. That was Ricky's and Matt Wood's first, World of Outlaw win as a team owner too. So that was definitely a special night.
What memories do you have there, Brad, of you racing there? Anything stands out?
That was the only race I've ever raced at Eagle was that night. So my memory is Kyle getting in a car that was struggling extremely bad that season and willing it to a win, which what we've seen him do many times is take a car and do something that no one else can do with it. So I remember the track was awesome. I mean, it's aggressive. Like you got to be up on the wheel and qualifying. It had some character that night, from what I remember. It had some kind of little bit of holes and stuff and a big cushion. But yeah, I just remember Kyle winning. I remember Owen being there and I remember Kyle winning, and we ran okay, but that's about all.
All right. I want to, and again, that's Tuesday, June the 6th. Tickets available, highlimitracing.com or through Ticket Hoss. You can get in there. And if not, of course, you can watch it live here on FloRacing. I want to talk to quickly about the end of next week, start of Ohio Sprint Speed Week with the All-Stars, which, of course, you can watch here on FloRacing. Attica, Fremont, Wayne County, Sharon, Atomic, Eldora, and Portsmouth. And Kyle, I don't know how much you're racing, if at all, during Speed Week, but there's a lot of those around the country this time of year. What's the challenging part of Ohio Sprint Speed Week and just being good in those races?
Yeah, I don't plan on doing any of that this year. It's during our off week in NASCAR, so I've been grinding pretty hard and want to just kind of relax. But I've competed in Ohio Speed Week a lot, and I love it. It's as a guy who just shows up in races, it's not too tough on me. But man, the mechanics, it is a grueling week, of hot weather, late nights, early mornings, and just on repeat every day. So, it's a lot that goes into it, but it's fun. The crowds are always great, campers falling around. I love Speed Weeks, Ohio Speed Week, and that usually typically I think rolls right into Pennsylvania Speed Week. So, lots of racing this time of year and great racetracks, great competitors, and, fun to get out there and race multiple nights in a row.
Brad, Eldora is at the end of Sprint Speed Week, the 16th of June, last race before the million for the sprint car guys. How closely do you pay attention to that as a fan of it, but obviously as a competitor in the million, later on this summer?
I mean, definitely Eldora, you always pay attention to, but the fact that we have $1 million to win race, I think we'll definitely, be watching the racetrack to see kind of, it does build characteristics typically, during a year that kind of stay consistent. So definitely kind of see, if they're faster on the top, faster on the bottom, who looks good and why they look good. You always are trying to figure that out. So certainly the million's always on our mind. So we'll be watching June 16th for sure.
Yeah, and that all starts on Friday. So after we go to Eagle, Ohio Sprint Speed Week with the All-Stars on FloRacing, June 9th through the 13th, a day off, and then they finish up the 15th through the 17th. All right, last thing before we get everybody out of here, hold 'em or fold 'em. I have a couple things I want to talk about. I'm holding this upcoming schedule of dirt racing because, as we talked about, busy time of year, us at Eagle next week, Ohio Sprint Speed Week, Indiana Midget Week, Eastern Storm, Huset's High Bank Nationals, $250,000 to win. And that's just the month of June. We haven't even gotten to July yet when, of course, the Million's happening and everything else. It's a good time to be a dirt racing fan, but I think, Brad, if you're a driver too, and Kyle too, it's there's a lot to be excited about this summer.
Yeah, this is the biggest year for sprint car racing in the history of sprint car racing. So as a driver, it's certainly, basically you circled June, July, and August on your calendar as whether you're going to make money or have a good season. And so I think it's that time right now. So I'm excited for these next few months for sure.
Kyle, are you ready to go? You ready to show up and take some more money?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get to race as much as Brad and all these guys do over the next month or so to get ready. But yeah, I think I'm for sure ready. I think Paul and I read we're like 3 for 7 already this year in sprint car races, and I think we're even close to like the top 5 in money earned in 7 races or so. So
thanks to the high limit series.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I think teens and everybody can look at that and realize that the money's out there. So, but no, it's been fun, and I feel like we've been getting our car better and better each time we hit the racetrack. I felt like Tri-City was, and I mean, I know the track's way different, and the dirt's way different, but I felt like really good all night, like more grip than I've felt in any race in a long time. So, I hope that translates to other racetracks, bigger racetracks, slicker tracks, as Brad mentioned, because Eldora's on your mind with the Millions. So, but yeah, no, it's been fun this year, and then look forward to all the racing I got upcoming, and you hopefully dial our car and even more for all these big races coming up.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Catch a lot of that, of course, right here on Flow. I am folding the Granite City broadcast booth into 1,000,000 pieces with a bulldozer because it had no air conditioning, no ceiling. It was like 110 degrees, it felt like, in St. Louis on Wednesday, and it was not fun to call a race from. So I want that thing gone next time we come back. It was not ideal.
Ridge was saying they had like a scissor lift or something, but he was too heavy for it. So.
Yeah, he was. He got on there and it wouldn't move. He had to get off. Yeah. He had to come stand in the booth with us. You see it all sometimes when you travel the country and get to do sprint car races like we do. So, all right. As we said, Eagle next week, June the 6th. You can watch on FloRacing. Of course, if you can't be there, tickets available through Ticket Hoss and at highlimitracing.com. Guys, thank you. Brad, good luck this weekend. Doubleheader for you guys, North Dakota and Minnesota. And Kyle, you're racing, I guess, tonight, right, with the late models and then, of course, NASCAR at Gateway. So good luck, guys. Hopefully we'll do another victory toast next week. And thanks for watching. This has been the High Limit Room, episode 6 on FloRacing.